Oh shit. It's all good. Nothing broke. Hi, welcome to another episode of Tom's Geeky Garage. Today we are going to do some 3D printing videos. Right now we're in the production of a really big Ghostbuster 3 episode that we've been working on for about 2 months now to get the project done. The good news is we got the project done and we just have to shoot one more skit and then I can edit it and release it. But in the meantime, I wanted to give you guys some videos to kind of fill in the gap until that new video's out. So today we're going to be doing a Star Wars diorama using all 3D printed parts. We got a new SLA high resolution printer in the shop, so now we're going to make a diorama. Before we do, make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So let's go.
First thing we have to do is get a model. I found these models on Thingiverse. I downloaded a ATST and a X-Wing, and I felt like that would make a good setup for a diorama. So now that we have it up on legs, we can send it to the 3D printer. The 3D print's going to take about 2 hours to print everything. I have it set at about medium quality, which gives us this nice looking, a really nice looking surface that you can see here. Alright, now we need to get this thing off the build platform, so I'm going to use this knife and just slowly try to scrape the corners and try to loosen it up without damaging any of the parts. Now I got it off, we can wash it with alcohol, get it off all the resin that didn't cure, and then take it over to the curing bucket. I don't know if that's a good name for that, curing bucket? Well, Rob built this really great curing drawer for us to cure parts in. Alright, now you can see that the parts have came out of the cure box and have been primered. And then I'm going to give them just a coat of black to start with. Here you can see the parts halfway through the painting. And this is the box we're going to use to make our base. The hollow inside is going to allow us room to put batteries and wiring through the floor of the diorama. Alright, so let's get started on that. I have this island that I pre-sculpted, and I'm just going to use clay to kind of fill in the rest of the top of this box. I'm planning on having a little water area in the corner, so I'm not going to go all the way to the corner with the actual sculpt here. And I'm roughing in light details, and because we're going to cover all this with sand, so it doesn't have to be perfect right now. You can see I sculpted in some rock and tree details too right there, so that kind of helps sell it. Now we're going to cover this with a wood glue and then sprinkle some sand over it, and that's going to get set out in the sunlight where the glue will dry, and then we'll have a nice textured ground. Alright, now I'm going to figure out the placement where I want everybody to be. So what I pictured is having the two ATSTs here and having the X-Wing flying in and kind of blasting as it's flying through. So now we're going to get ready to paint. We're going to take a dark brown and do a base coat of dark brown over everything, and then slowly lighten up the color and then brush lighter and lighter coats on to kind of make the high spots light and the deep spots dark. I didn't get too crazy with details here. I really just tried to focus on dry brushing, and then I did pinpoint a few rocks that I wanted to be lighter and painted them, but for the most part I just kind of dry brushed the whole surface to give us like kind of dirt mud effect. I guess that's what I would say it was. Now we're going to paint these ATSTs. We're going to dry brush a light gray over the details, and this will leave all the creases kind of really dark black, and then the high spots the actual gray color they need to be. Yeah, I didn't go too crazy on painting these things. Just kind of went through it. Try to hit the corners, you know, so it looks like it's worn down. Oh, now we're doing the X-wing. The X-wing I could have spent a lot more time painting, and it would probably came out a lot better. But I was trying to do 2 projects at once, and it was on a time limit, so I had to kind of do what I could do in just a few moments here. So alright, so now I'm going to add some green to give kind of a grass look on the opposite side of the water. So I'm going to just spray a little bit of green in here. I don't know if I'm getting levels. You are, bro. Levels are good. Alright, so yeah, little green, not too much. Just trying to add a little bit of, I guess, foliage kind of fill over here, or maybe like a mossy fill, because this is kind of a wetlands. When I get done with it, I'm going to put water on this far left side, and then the green area on the right side. So now we're just we're going to punch some holes in here so we can run the lights in. I could have also did this with a drill bit, but I had lost my drill bits, so I just used my handy dandy soldering iron to do that. Here's the lights we're going to put in. A friend of mine gave me these at work just for projects, and we're going to solder them off and stick them in here. We're going to try to do some fake explosions, so we'll just solder these up to a battery and a switch. That way we can toggle it on and off. And then we'll kind of pair that with some cotton later and try to create an explosion effect or something. Here you can see the LEDs poking through. Now we just need to add the battery and the switch. Battery and switch is now connected. And the lights work. But I did not know they were going to be red. I was actually planning on these being white light. So that's going to change the effect a little bit, but it'll be okay. So now we have all this ready. We can start gluing down our ATSTs and preparing where the X-wing's going to be. We have the lights in there, so we know there's going to be explosions happening in these 2 points. So let's try to figure out where we want to do this. Here you can see I added a little bit of cotton to try to create almost like a fireball I was going for, but like I'd said, I had planned on these lights to be white, and I think it would have came out looking cooler if they were white instead of the red, but I figured since it's supposed to be laser blast anyways, it kind of works. It makes sense that they'd be red. That's what I'm telling myself, so I'm not upset about the project. Alright, so now we're going to start placing our ATSTs. I'm just gluing these down with hot glue for now. Once I get the placement set in stone, I'll glue them down with super glue or use a resin to glue them down. So you can see we have 3 ATSTs here. There's going to be one that's in the water destroyed, one that is just falling over, and one that is perfectly fine standing up in the rear. I can't really see what I'm doing here. So now I'm placing the X-wing in. The X-wing is going to be held on a little wire. That way I can kind of pose it later if I want to, so I can change the way it looks from time to time just by bend it. The attack angle. I can change the attack angle later. So that'll be cool. And his little rod is put into the area that will be water, so I'm going to kind of glue him in place using the resin later. So here you can see kind of the structure. We got the X-Wing flying in, and we got the devastation on the ground. So now we're going to get the resin. We're going to put some water in here. So I've just used masking tape and built up a little bitty wall, a little retaining wall that's going to hold the resin until it cures. And I took some organic sticks and twigs and things like that I found out on the driveway. And I kind of put those where all the water is going to be, because ponds and creeks have all that stuff that settles at the bottom. It's always really filthy, logs, and so we'll put some more debris in here. All right, so for the water, we're going to do some two-part polyurethane resin, and we're going to give it a kind of a dark green color. I don't really want the water clear. I want it to be like a swamp, so I want it really swampy, so really dark green, kind of a dark green water. So little by little, we're going to add dye to this until we get something I like. I was going after something very alien, too. I didn't pick a certain island like Hoth or anything like that for these characters, like from the movie. I was kind of just doing my own. So I did like more of a green, blue water, like alien water. And so since I've designed this base to be kind of like a pool, all I had to really do was just pour it in until I got to the level that I wanted it. In this case was all of it. I was like, just keep going. Just keep pouring. I was worried it was going to overflow and go into the other end where I didn't want water, but I built a little rock dam on the back side. You can't see, but on the back side, I sculpted a little rock stacked, and it kept the water from flowing behind them, so that worked out. And the lights still work, even though one is in the water now, because I added the extra resin. But that's okay. It could still be fuel burning on top of the water. Alright, so here's kind of where we ended up at. I don't have really great lighting here, but the water and everything came out really nice looking.